Всем привет, люди! Это cossackhetman, и сегодня поговорим об Cherkasy городе. Hello everyone, and today we will be talking about Cherkasy. So let's start off with a few tidbits. Cherkasy is the capital of Cherkasy Oblast, or province, and it is also the administrative center of Cherkasy Rayon, which is the district within that oblast. Its population is at around 274,000 people as of 2020, and Cherkasy is the cultural, educational, and industrial center of Cherkasy Oblast, and it is a huge economic region of Ukraine. Cherkasy has been known to exist since the 13th century, and it's played a tremendous part in the history of Ukraine. The city was the center of Cossacks, its citizens taking part in the Klemenchnaia and Kolyevchnya rebellions. The city itself is located on the right bank of the Dnieper River, specifically at the Kremenchuk Reservoir, about 200 kilometers south of the nation's capital of Kiev. Cherkasy is divided into two boroughs, Sosnevsky and Pridneprovsky regions. Cherkasy is also surrounded by a massive forest known as the Cherkasy Bir, which is the biggest natural pine forest in Ukraine. I had the honor of visiting and working in this city and all of Cherkasy Oblast during my first trip to Ukraine way back in April of 2019 during the presidential elections. I made great friends, learned a tremendous amount of the region, its people, its history, and the current ongoings. It was an amazing experience, and I'll be showing some pictures and videos that I captured during my trip there as well, while I describe the rich history of the city of Cherkasy. Now, while there has been archaeological findings that date the site upon which Cherkasy stands as being inhabited by humans way back into the late Paleolithic era, the earliest written documentation are recorded in 1305 from the Gustynskiy Chronicle within the primary chronicle of Kievan Rus, which states that the date of Cherkasy's establishment was 1286. Now, in the 1360s, the city entered a new period in its development, becoming a part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Cherkasy became an important defender of the southern borders of the Grand Duchy. In 1384, the city was recognized as a fortified town on the southern edge, forming along with Vinnytsia, Bratslav, and Kanyev as part of a defensive line against the Crimean Tartars. Around this time, the city also started to be ruled by a headman, known as a starotsa. From the beginning of the 15th until the beginning of the 16th centuries, the post of Cherkasy's headman was held by prominent persons of the time, such as Bogdan Glinitsky, Kmita Alexandrovich, Vasil Daskyevich, Andrei Nemorovich, Ostafy Dashkevich, Vasil Tskevich, and Dmitro Baida-Vizhnetsky. Now, during the 15th and the 16th centuries, Cherkasy was one of the main centers that helped the Cossacks in populating southern Ukraine. Citizens took part in military campaigns against the Tartars and the Turks, including operations led by Ivan Pidkova. And a new Cherkasy castle was built in 1549 as well on the place of the old one, right in the center of city life during this time. Now, after the Union of Lublin in 1569, Cherkasy became a part of Poland. Later on, the Cherkasy Regiment of Registered Cossacks played a tremendous part in the role and the history of the city. Now, this regiment was created in 1625 during the Klemenchuk uprising. The regiment itself became an administrative territorial subdivision all the way until 1686. So wherever this Cossack host roamed, they brought the pure authority of the hetman of Cherkasy with them. So during this time, Cherkasy's regiment was one of the most powerful military units, taking part in all of the battles for Bogdan Khmelnytskiy's army. Even as you may remember from my previous video, at the greatest loss at Berestechko, these guys were there. Now, this was an elite regiment with rigorous training and many battles under their belts. They were responsible for developing many new techniques after the loss at Berestechko that then were implemented at the Cossack siege. A great video soon to come, my friends. Now, back to Bogdan. So, After a very successful campaign, Khmelnytsky in 1654 signed an alliance with Muscovy at Pereyaslav. I know I've mentioned this to death, my friends, but a video is coming. The war officially ended in 1667 with the Truce of Andrusovo. As a result, Cherkasy remained part of Poland, but territories east of the Dnieper River, including left bank Ukraine and Zaporozhye, were secured for Muscovy. While in the Polish kingdom, the city was a seat of the county Powiat, which belonged to a greater unit, the Kiev Voivodeship, of the Lesser Poland province all the way until 1793. However, I'll make note that in 1768, during the Kolyivshchina turmoils, this city of Cherkasy was severely damaged and pillaged. Then, in 1791, the city gained Magdeburg rights. It became a royal city of Poland. Then, just a few short years after that, the second partition of Poland occurred, and the city was incorporated into the Kievan Gubernira of Imperial Russia. The next 2 centuries saw the Russification of Cherkasy and many atrocities and bloodshed during the 20th century. In particular, the Russian Civil War, where Cherkasy traded hands some 18 times before finally falling under Bolshevik control, under which it was subjected to the horrific man-made famine of the Holodomor and a great purge, as well as de-Cossackization policies, all implemented by Joseph Stalin. As if this was not enough, the people of Cherkasy suffered greatly under the German invasion of Ukraine during the Second World War, and the city was nearly bombed to oblivion. After being reclaimed by Soviet forces later, a 5-year plan was established, and many of the modern marvels and engineering feats and buildings that are still standing today are a result of this massive investment during the 1950s to the 1960s. That, my friends, is Cherkasy in a nutshell, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I really recommend taking a trip whenever it's possible, especially in the summer, to enjoy the beach on the banks of the Dnieper, having some shashlik and thinking about the Cossacks that would have been training there by swimming across its great lengths, practicing their military maneuvers in their massive chaikas, naval boats. Another great video to come, my friends. And all this while under the licking heat of the sun upon the beautiful Dnieper, with eagles flying overhead and bells ringing from the churches on the shore. Until next time, Sile Chestva, strength and honor, Paka.